In this video lecture, we will go ahead and learn Faraday's laws of electrolysis. Michael Faraday, based on his observations on several electrolysis experiments, he deduced two laws, right? There are two laws of electrolysis, two Faraday's laws of electrolysis, right? So before we go ahead and define what these laws are, let's just quickly recap what we learned in electrolysis, or we'll just quickly recap the process of electrolysis. Let's just suppose this is an electrolytic cell, right? This is an electrolytic cell, right? That consists of anode, right? This is your cathode, right? This is your battery that will supply DC current, not AC current, and this is your electrolyte. Let's take example. Let's suppose we are doing electrolysis of sodium chloride. So electrolyte is something that electrolyte is aqueous solution of an ionic compound or ionic compound in molten state. Why in molten state or in aqueous state? Because in molten or aqueous state only ionic compound contains mobile ions or free ions, and it is these free ions that will conduct electricity in this electrolytic cell, right? When we will pass electric current through this battery. So mobile ions are important for the conduction of electric current. That is why in aqueous state or in molten state. So this will contain sodium ions and chloride ions, right? So when we pass electric current, what will happen? When electric current will pass through this electrolyte, these ions will start moving towards their respective electrodes. Sodium ion, which is a cation, will move towards cathode, and chloride ions, which is an anion, will move towards anode. So sodium ion will move towards cations. Here sodium ion will move towards cathode, right? And anions, here chloride ion will move towards anode. The way to remember this is C will move to C, A will move to A, right? So when cations will move to cathode, cations will undergo reduction, right? That is, they will gain electrons and form neutral metal atoms which will get deposited at cathode. Here sodium ion will gain one electron when it will migrate to cathode and form sodium atom. Similarly, when chloride ion will migrate to cathode, it will lose electron, that is, it will get oxidized and will form chlorine atom. Similarly, two chlorine atom will form chlorine gas, right? So these two products of here the product of electrolysis are sodium and chlorine, right? So these product of electrolysis are obtained at cathode and anode, right? So now, based on this understanding, right, we will, in Faraday's laws of electrolysis, we will just quantify certain things in this process of electrolysis, right? Like electric current and the amount or the weight of substances that formed at cathode and anode, right? So what Faraday said, the first law is that when you are passing this electric current through this electrolyte, products are formed at anode and cathode. So the first law says, more is the electric current that you pass through this electrolyte, more would be the weight of or the amount of products that would get formed at anode and cathode, right? So it's a simple law. More is the electric current that we pass through this battery, more would be the weight of products that would be formed at anode and cathode. So we define this law as weight of the substance as per the Faraday's first law of electrolysis. Weight of the substance liberated at electrodes would be directly proportional to the quantity of electricity pass. Right, quantity of electricity passed through electrolyte. Quantity of electricity would be denoted by Q. So here we can write W is directly proportional to Q, right? And we know that current is rate of flow of charge, therefore Q is equals to IT, right? So here we can write, in place of Q we can write IT, where I stands for current, which is measured in amperes, and T stands for time, which is measured in seconds, right? So if we remove the proportionality sign, we will put one constant, right? And this constant is known as electrochemical equivalent. Right? So we have two relations, or we can write this as W is equals to ZQ, right? Or we can write this as Z is equals to W upon Q. So once you know the weight of the substance liberated at anode or cathode, and the quantity of electricity passed through this battery, you can calculate the value of electrochemical equivalent. So electrochemical equivalent, how we can define electrochemical equivalent? Let's see from here, from these two relations. If I is equals to 1 ampere, T is equals to 1 second, then W, that is weight of substance liberated at electrode, would be equal to Z. So here we can define electrochemical equivalent as weight of the substance liberated at electrode when 1 ampere current is passed for 1 second, right? If you take this example, just to understand, if I pass 1 ampere current through this battery for 1 second, then the amount that I obtain, for example, the amount of sodium that I get at cathode, would be its electrochemical equivalent. I repeat, if I pass 1 ampere current through this battery, right, into this electrolyte for 1 second, then the amount of sodium as per this reaction that I get, or chlorine that I get at anode or cathode, is its electrochemical equivalent, right? So this is electrochemical equivalent. Or we can also define it as, suppose we pass 1 coulomb of electricity through this electrolyte, then W is equals to Z. So electrochemical equivalent is equals to the weight of the substance when 1 coulomb of electricity is passed through the electrolyte, right? So Z can be defined as, Z is weight liberated at electrode when 1 coulomb of electricity is passed through electrolyte, right? Just remember this, we will be using this again. So now, based on experiments, we found that when 96,500 coulombs of electricity is passed through the electrolyte, the weight of the substance that we obtain at the electrodes is proportional to, or is equal to, its gram equivalent weight, right? Suppose I pass 96,500 coulombs of electricity through this electrolyte, then the weight of the substance that I get at electrode would be equal to its gram equivalent weight, right? And what is the gram equivalent weight of sodium? Gram equivalent weight of sodium is 23 grams, right? So if I pass, say, 96,000 if I pass 96,500 coulombs of electricity, I get 1 gram equivalent of substance at electrode, right? So if I pass 1 coulomb, now we are applying simple unitary method. If I pass 96,000 coulombs, I get 1 gram equivalent of the substance. If I pass 1 coulomb of current, then I get 1 gram equivalent of substance upon 96,500, right? So as per this definition above of electrochemical equivalent, amount of substance liberated by passing 1 coulomb of electric current is your electrochemical equivalent. So here this is the amount liberated when we pass 1 coulomb of electricity through the electrolyte. So this is equal to this now, right? So Z is equals to, so if I say this is 2, let's say this definition is 1, right? So comparing 1 and 2, this is also amount of substance liberated when 1 coulomb of electricity is passed through the electrolyte, which is equal to electrochemical equivalent, right? Here through this method we found that when 1 coulomb of electricity is passed through the electrolyte, we get this much amount of substance, right? Because we know when 96,500 coulomb of electricity is passed, 1 gram equivalent of substance is obtained at electrode, right? So when 1 coulomb is passed, this, so this is equal to this. Comparing 1 and 2, we get Z is equals to 1 gram equivalent divided by 96,500, right? This is the relation that we have deduced, right? So this is your first law of thermodynamics, right? Just remember these relations, right? It's very simple. More is the electric current that we pass, more is the amount of substance that we get at the electrode. Then we applied simple mathematics. Weight of the substance liberated is directly proportional to current, right? So we know that Q is equals to IT. We remove the proportionality sign, then Z electrochemical equivalent. Then we defined Z as when 1 coulomb of electricity is passed through the electrolyte, then weight of the substance would be equal to electrochemical equivalent, right? So here then we said that experimentally we found that when this much of 96,500 coulomb of electricity is passed through electrolyte, we get 1 gram equivalent of the substance. For sodium, 1 gram equivalent is its atomic mass, atomic weight in grams, which is 23, right? 23 grams. So this would be 23 in case of sodium, right? So 1 coulomb would give this much of substance at the electrode. So this and this are same. So we write Z is equals to this, right? And the value of Z can be calculated from this formula if you know the weight of the substance liberated and the amount of electricity passed through the electrolyte, right? Now just we need to understand one small thing. What is this 96,500 coulomb? This is equal to 1 Faraday, right? So we say 96,500. Now just to understand this, we know that charge on one electron is equal to 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulombs, right? Therefore this is for 1 electron, right? Charge on 1 electron. So charge on 1 mole of electrons, and we know that in 1 mole we have 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 electrons, or in 1 mole we have this much number of particles. So if on 1 electron we have this much of charge, then on these number of electrons we will have 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23 multiplied by 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb of charge, right? This much charge we have on 1 mole of electrons. So this will come out to be 96,440. Then approximately we will take it as 96,500 coulombs, right? And this is equal to 1 Faraday. This is equal to 1 Faraday. 96,500, which is the charge or the current on 1 mole of electrons. Charge on 1 mole of electrons is equal to 1 Faraday. We say it as charge on 1 mole of electrons is 1 Faraday, right? So this is charge on 1 mole of electrons. So this I can write it as Q1, charge on 1 mole of electrons, right? So if we have n moles of electrons, then charge would be n into F, right? Or n into 96,500. We know that 96,500 is equals to 1 Faraday. So NF. F is charge on 1 mole of electron. So charge on n mole of electrons would be NF. Number of moles into charge on 1 mole of electrons, which is 96,500. Right? This relation is important. Right? And from here we can deduce one relation. We can deduce relation between 3 constants. This is your Avogadro number, right? And this is your charge on 1 electron, right? So we write it as Na, Avogadro number, this into E, right? This is equal to Faraday, 1 Faraday. This is important, right? This is and all these 3 are constant. Faraday is constant. Since this is constant, right? After multiplying these two, we get this quantity. So this will also be a constant. So we call it as Faraday constant. So this is the relation, right? Na, Avogadro number, into charge on 1 mole, charge on 1 electron, right, is equals to 1 Faraday. This is the charge on Avogadro number of electrons, which is 6.02 into 10 to the power of 23, which is 1 mole. So the 1 Faraday is charge on 1 mole of electrons, right? So if charge on 1 mole of electrons is 1 Faraday, right, then charge on n moles of electrons would be, we'll multiply with n. It is NF, right? So this is your first Faraday first law of electrolysis, and this is your relationship between Faraday electron, charge on 1 electron, and Avogadro number. Through this we got this 96,500 coulomb, right, which is the charge